up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Yeah, happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a good one. Hopefully you guys had a good night last night in baseball, in basketball, whatever you played and sweated. Hope you made a bunch of money. If you didn't, there's always tomorrow. And tomorrow is today, though. Tonight we have a weird slate. If you play on Fanduel and DraftKings, the slates are not quite identical. Matter of fact, it's almost a whole different slate on Fanduel, as they've included the Baltimore-Oakland game, Tampa and Chicago game, and the DraftKings slate kicks off at 6:05 my time, 7:05 Eastern. So that's going to start at Arizona-Washington, and that's going to miss out on the Cardinals and Marlins, the Yankees and Tigers, the Angels, and the Astros. So we're going to be doing a little bit back and forth, trying to chop up what's coming up tonight. So I'm working on getting the full Fanduel slate into the spreadsheet, and then we'll know when we pick up on DraftKings when things get going. You know what I mean? So I hope that's not too confusing. I hope we can get through it at a decent time and walk away with some plays. Me and more. Can you go get me those drinks in the front? But shout out to the live chat, man. Hope you guys are doing all right. Me and Moore's in the chat. Skimmer's in the chat. Gilbert Powell. Hope you're doing all right. Suavius Obi-Wan. Blowing smoke. I guess happy holiday to those of you that celebrate. I don't. But I don't hate you if you do. What up, Travis? EB, what up, Chuck? There's a lot of people that celebrate in chat, I see. Oh my god. Oh man. But hey, that's cool, man. Happy Wednesday, if nothing else. All right, we can all celebrate a Wednesday. There we go. Chat. In the nick of time. DoorDash coming through. Any early slate action on Fanduel? So didn't that slate already lock? I can look at it briefly. I won't put it in the spreadsheet. So it's what? Dodgers, Braves, Morton and Gonsolin, Eflin versus Marquez, and then Padres hosting the Reds. So without doing like hardcore research, I'd imagine a core stack is the play you want to make before you see the flop. But then imagine on that slate it's going to be the chalkiest approach. So maybe be a little bit contrarian, just grab a couple bats from that game, and then focus on Dodgers, Braves, and Padres pitchers. I do like a Padres stack there. I think Gutierrez can get got. Manny Machado's on fire. Let's do that. Gonsolin doesn't really go super deep for me to want to have some exposure to him. Yeah, so that's my quick lazy analysis on that one. Is probably stack cores, but also cores will be what everyone else is doing. I will say, if you are optimizing that slate, one of the things I like to do on the small slates is I like to unlock hitters against my pitchers if I'm running X amount of lineups, just to be a little different. Even if it's not off my pitcher, get a shot off the bullpen, because every at-bat counts in those slates, you know what I mean? Called in today? Oh my god. You know, I've had a lot of employees that celebrated the festivities. They never called in. They would just do it while they were at work, and I'd have to pretend like I don't know, but I knew. But as long as they were functioning, have you ever heard the term functioning alcoholic? As long as they were functioning, I let them do their thing. You know what I mean? Just stay away from the front of the house. Y'all are wilding. All right. So the process here. We're gonna talk about every game that's on the Fanduel main, which will also be every game on the DraftKings main. But first things first, let's do some research on the weather. So we're gonna open up Roto Grinders. Kevin Roth, he does a pretty good job about warning us and keeping us updated on what we should be looking out for. So looks like Coors is fine. Yankees at the Tigers. It says 2 batches of light rain, one around first pitch, another at the end or after the game. I don't think either looks heavy enough to stop play, so I assume they just play through some light showers, putting it at yellow-green for the potential that the first wave causes some sort of a delay, but I don't expect one. Winds in from center at 10 to 15 miles an hour. All right, cool. Giants and Mets game looks like it's going to be good. Looks like a real trouble spot here with Tampa and Chicago. Let me skip that. There we go. A little bit more vibey here. By the way, let me know if the music's too loud, too low. We'll adjust. Chicago has moved the start time up to 6:30. Doesn't really do a lot for us weather-wise, but it is a sign that it seems like they want to play the game. His original post was not ideal. They'll have to play almost this entire game in light rain. I say almost because it might be dry at first pitch, which is the only reason I don't have some red in the forecast. So orange, yellow, they've adjusted the start time. Let's go ahead and get that reflected in our notes or in our spreadsheet. Let's do orange. Let's do yellow. And then he's got Minnesota and Kansas. A few lingering showers gives us low chance of late start, but even if they do call for a late start to the game, it will play without issue, so don't worry if they don't make that announcement. All right, cool. And then Baltimore, Oakland, not the usual spot where customers see rain, but we'll see scattered showers this evening in Oakland. Some patients that should be able to play. So that's weird because that game's actually moved up. It's the first game of the slate, so I don't know if he knew that or if that's been kind of addressed. So looks like the main trouble spot is going to be Wrigley. So we got to keep an eye on that throughout the day, and we'll go from there. Yeah, me. Here, what up, Justin Sports? All right, so I've only got part of the games entered into the index portal, and when we get to where I need to go, we'll start adding games one by one. You know, it ain't gonna take me but a minute to type it in there. We got a Tigers starting lineup. All right. Boom. Orioles at the Athletics. We got Jordan Lyles up against Dalton Jeffries. So I guess we'll put a hint of yellow here because we're not quite sure what the heck is the situation. But I assume they moved the game up, and that's what really jacked the slate up. DraftKings didn't adjust their start time, but Fanduel did. Both these pitchers, not great. Very not good. We'll double check, make sure that they've continued to be not good, as the start of the season has given them a couple starts under their belt. It's kind of like yesterday where both pitchers were guys we want to pick on, but this park and these offenses are not great, and the park can eat a lot of the offense. Almost a 10% swinging strike rate to start the season, so more of a contact pitcher than not. Batted ball data tells us 4.5, so 4.8 xFIP. So yeah, Jordan Lyles picking up where he left off. Really not somebody you're going to miss out on. Dalton Jeffries, 15 innings last year. So we don't have a lot of innings for Dalton Jeffries really in the last 2 years, at least not in the big leagues. So I do want to do a little bit more due diligence on him, making sure the information we got is correct. With just an 8% swing and strike rate through 2 games, 66% first pitch strike. So it's in line with what we know about him. The strikeouts are just not there. And last year, he had a decent ground ball rate so far this season. Ground ball rate's all right. 50% ground ball rate. Hard contact's low. So, should be an ugly game. I'm hoping it's the most average game that ever did average, and I'm probably not going to roster. I know I'm not going to roster either pitcher on FanDuel. Maybe we take some sprinkles of either hitter. Against lefties, Jordan Lyles certainly has some power problems. Maybe Billy McKinney, somebody that can profile, somebody that can take advantage of that. Seth Brown has a 260 ISO against righties the last couple years, but we are just down here dealing with poverty, figuratively and dang near literally, when you think about the Athletics and the Orioles. These are two of the lowest payrolls in all of baseball, and it showed last night. Athletics attendance was like less than 4K. So ugly baseball game, and I'm gonna stay away from it. I will say Christian Bethancourt yesterday, he fell into a couple of lineups of mine, and I feel like I looked up and he had a pair of stolen bases. So I guess you could do worse than a middle of the lineup catcher. Yeah, he had a stolen base and he got on base twice. So maybe 2K for Bethancourt on Fanduel can make a lineup work against a contact hitter, and he's shown a little bit of stolen base propensity. So bare bones min price, sure, why not? But for the most part, no, definitely not stacking. Probably not stacking, and we'll go from there. The train is annoying. Yeah. What up, Absolute Power? They took the Rays Cubs game off the slate, off of both sites, or just it's still on FanDuel. So they took it off of DraftKings. So DraftKings main slate is a lot different. Their main slate is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, and FanDuel's is much larger. So we will still have to at least do our due diligence on it for FanDuel purposes, but I don't imagine we're going to have a whole lot of high interest, at least not in the hitters, right? What up, Josh? Hope you're doing all right. Are we spending up for pitcher on today's slate? Probably when we get there. We're going to have Carlos Rodon. We're going to have Luis Gilbert. Chris Bassett to an extent. We do have some upper echelon names and some quality. And then when we get on FanDuel, it's going to open up Luis Severino, who looked really, really sharp so far. And, at the end of last year. So definitely a slate. And most slates, the answer for me is I don't want to get cute at pitching. I almost never co-sign that. So yes, probably. All right, Rays at the Cubs. So this was the big trouble spot from Roth. Keep an eye on this game even playing. They adjusted the start time, I guess, to try and get innings in to make it an official game before long. But our pitching matchup is Drew Rasmussen taking on Marcus Stroman. Rasmussen a 3.65 expected ERA last year. Stroman a 4.33 hiccup. We can double check both of their metrics to start the year. I think ultimately, if we are dealing with a lot of rain here, I don't see myself prioritizing either pitcher. I almost never really get to Stroman on a main slate anyway, unless it's an absolute can't miss spot. He's more of a contact ground ball, good real life pitcher than upside fantasy pitcher. So far this season, Rasmussen 11.4% swinging strike rate, about a 60% first pitch strike. Batted ball data is giving us a 4.56 xFIP, not what you want. And he's been more of a fly ball and line drive pitcher so far, so that's also not what you want. And has he allowed some power yet? A 15.4% home run to fly ball rate. Yeah, so both of his bombs allowed so far have been against righties. Now extremely small sample size, and we got a little bit more sample size last year, but it did show us last year that power was definitely more susceptible, or he was more susceptible to power from righties with about a 1 home run per night. So room for regression, stabilization on the home run per night right now. But there are some power righties in this Cubs lineup we can get behind. Seiya Suzuki, Patrick Wisdom in the bottom of the order. These are guys that are often going to profile well. And shout out to DraftKings, man. We were in on it week 1. Told you guys, Seiya Suzuki had numbers overseas that were rivaling Ohtani, but his power numbers were literally better than Ohtani, and he showed up right away, made an impact. Probably going to be your National League Rookie of the Year without a doubt. So if you can still get that at plus money, you want to sit on that, sure, why not? But DraftKings pricing them at $5,800, and that's what we expected. So when we were able to get him at 2K, 2.3, 2.5, stuff like that, I really liked taking advantage then, and now those days are going to be gone forever. But Suzuki looks like a guy we might target against Rasmussen. And then if Wisdom gets a decent spot in the lineup, I don't mind looking at him. But like I said, overall, we're worried about this game even playing. What up, Eric? I hope you're doing all right. All right, next game, Cardinals at the... Wait, do we want to stack Rays? No, probably not. Like I said, Marcus Stroman, it's 7,600. If I wasn't worried about weather here, I might take a couple shares of him in like 100, 150. If weather does clear up later on, sure. But I don't think I'm going to do that, especially on a one-pitcher site where I really need to get or really want to. I guess that's not fair because you could get away with these 6-inning quality start and the win guys, but you never really imply the Cubs for a win with any type of confidence. So I probably don't get to Stroman, but he is at an attainable price point if you had a better feeling in your gut. Sure. If I want to pick on him though, he also kind of like Rasmussen has allowed power to righties. Randy Arozarena, I guess somebody that could take advantage of that. But nothing that I need to hard click on. Cardinals at the Marlins. Miles Michaelis taking on Sandy Alcantara. We don't have lineups for either of these two teams, right? No, okay. Couple games for Alcantara and Michaelis for that matter. So let's go look at their starts so far. And then we need to look at pitch counts. One thing that Fanduel doesn't do, and they haven't done it ever, is if you look at their game logs for pitchers, they don't show pitch counts. That's like so valuable when shopping pitchers, and DraftKings makes it that much easier. So we'll have to look at that separately. But Miles Michaelis, let's look at his first couple starts. He's got a 5% average swing and strike rate so far. Well, got up to almost 8% against Milwaukee, just a 2% swing and strike rate against Pittsburgh. And then we look at the batted ball data off of that. 4.3 overall xFIP last game was better, and these are just two individual games that can really make some wonky numbers. And then let's look at pitch type. 92 on the fastball, 87 on the slider. Is that consistent with what we had the last sample size on him? 93, 87, so pretty in line. I don't like his lack of strikeout propensity, and almost 9K. Yeah, I know we can eat innings and give and take here, but today's not the day. So I don't think I'm that interested at all in Michaelis. Alcantara is somebody I do think is a good pitcher, and I think he's going to be a highly sought after play for me on slates to come. But we got to give the Cardinals their due and their credit. It never fails. They always mow the grass. They really have not been striking out as a team so far. And yeah, this will be a hard spot to earn them strikeouts at 11.8% swinging strike rate on the season. The first game it wasn't there, but he found it last game against the Phillies, an 18% swinging strike rate. So that's good to see. We know coming into this season, he's a guy that can get us some strikeouts, a 24% overall K rate, 13% swing and strike rate, and he really, really likes to see more righties than lefties. And that'll be the case with the Cardinals. You know, as good as they are and as hard as they are to strike out, they will be pretty righty dominant. So if you do want to play a little bit of Alcantara and be a little contrarian and try to accentuate his strengths, yeah, a lineup full of righties is probably the chip to put on the table here, but just really, really low K rates so far as a team. Matter of fact, we can probably display that aesthetically. Let's go to leaders. The Baltimore and Mets games are postponed on. No, they're not postponed, AJ. Or at least my understanding is they're not postponed. They got moved up, and DraftKings took them off of their slate since their new start time is before the initial lock time. So officially, I know they haven't been postponed. It could be coming, but it hasn't. They just removed it from the slate. So Fanduel still has it on the slate. That's the only reason I'm talking about it right now, because it is on the Fanduel main slate. Team stats. Fudge. I accidentally clicked right fielder. I appreciate that though, AJ. Making sure that your boy wasn't blabbering about games not happening. At least not yet. Alright, so far throughout the young season, the St. Louis Cardinals have a 15% strikeout rate against righties. And yeah, they've just been really, really good and really hard to strike out. So super difficult matchup for Alcantara, but he is a good pitcher that in deep tournaments, if we got his ownership at single digits, probably grab a couple shares of him and hope that maybe this park swallows a couple of homers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? If we want to pick on him, he doesn't have a lot of underlying metrics that are specifically things I want to attack. The ground ball rate, especially against righties, essentially 60% the last 2 years. His problem is lefties. almost a 4 xFIP and a 5.2 xFIP last couple years against lefties. So I'd be looking more at like Tommy Edman, Dylan Carlson batting from the left side of the plate if they were in a positive spot. But for the most part, if I wasn't playing Alcantara, it's nothing less than me just being scared of the lack of strikeouts in this matchup. So take that with a grain of salt. I'll get a little bit of him in tournaments though. Michael has been a pure contact pitcher. He's also allowed some power, especially against righties. Last year, 137 homer per 9 to righties. Jorge Soler, really cheap on Fanduel. Gary Cooper, Jesus Aguilar, they could play into those splits there. So I don't mind getting a couple shares of them. I don't know if I'm going to end up with dedicated full stacks for the Marlins here. 4.1 implied run total, but we're just chipping a chair, some power. Those guys do appear to be solid clicks based on Michaelis's metrics. If we are power hunting, you mean need Gallo to hit a homer? Man, I don't. Gallo might get the day off, to be honest, unless that lineup is out. Booney likes to rotate rest, and it's a lefty on the mound, so I would almost be shocked if Joey Gallo played. Last time they faced a lefty, it was some bum lefty from Baltimore. He sat Gallo and Rizzo, and Rizzo can hit lefty, so I didn't think that was necessary. But I would pretty much expect Gallo to not play today, but we'll see. Matter of fact, let's talk about that game. Tigers lineup is confirmed, so we can adjust that in the spreadsheet. Robbie Grossman, Austin Meadows, Jonathan Scope, Jamer Candelario, Miggy Cabrera, Victor Reyes, Spencer Torkelson, Harold Castro. This was a weird game yesterday. It was cold. It was yucky. The Tigers got into their fourth pitcher in the third or fourth inning. The Yankees got into their bullpen pretty quick. Garrett Cole couldn't get past 2 innings. Just didn't have it. Had no command at all. He walked 4 batters in an inning. He's never done that in his career. And he had over a 40 pitch inning. He's never done that in his career. So a complete meltdown yesterday. The Yankees were able to throw out Clark Schmidt, clean up the game, and lock it down. Offensively, the Yankees left some runs on the board, and to be honest, they probably got gifted some runs. They scored 2 off of Josh Donaldson infield fly ball that the pitcher didn't field, and they got 2 free runs there. And then I want to say there was something that scored at KF from third base. So the Yankees offense has still been anemic. Even though the result was some runs yesterday, it has been a hard product to watch. They are up against Eduardo Rodriguez, essentially the Tigers' ace now. He has been a familiar foe for the Yankees the last half a decade as part of the Red Sox rotation. So there is some history here and plenty of game film for the Yankees to throw on their iPad and study. Rodriguez can get you strikeouts. He can also lose it at times. The 280 average allowed to righties. But last year, power numbers were really good. The hard contact was good. And probably most encouraging, was able to keep the walks at a respectable clip. So I don't mind any which way you slice this game up. If you want to say that the Yankees power bat slowed up, temps is still kind of soft. But if you're going to get more platoon advantages here, Aaron Hicks, Judgy, Stanton, LeMahieu, Donaldson, there's definitely a death row of power sleeping giants in those bats. And if they come alive here against Erod, sure, I think that's a viable approach here. I'd be curious to see how owned they are on FanDuel. And we're getting to the point where their offense has been so stagnant, maybe people just start looking the other way. So if we're going to continue to get shot at Yankees team at single-digit ownership, yeah, we keep playing them. But if you want to play Erod, I wouldn't talk you off of that. I think 7.1K on FanDuel is a cheap enough price point that he could pay off a strikeout per inning, if not more. There are some strikeouts in this Yankees lineup, obviously. I did see this morning that Erod had one of the most lopsided strikeout props on the board. He's at 5 right now. And let me see. I feel like I saw that he was minus 300 on the over earlier. I'll double check that. Give me a second. Un momento, por favor. Let's see. Yankees. Tigers. Poor Garrett Cole, though, all right? Poor Garrett Cole. He'll be all right, though. He'll be all right. I'm not seeing... There we go. Player strikeouts. Over 5.5. Yeah, okay. So the line has moved in Vegas at to 5.5 now. So if you believe in that, 5 strikeouts for Erod is lower than you would get elsewhere. So you're getting a better line. And then, how do we find Erod's pitch count from that last game? Rod, would Fantasy Cruncher have that in their game log? If so, that would be great. That would be fantastic. Let's pull up Fantasy Cruncher real quick. Have we talked about Blue Jays yet? No, Zach. I'm still working on the Fanduel main slate, so we're about to hit into the 7 p.m. stuff for the DraftKings main. You guys and your guyness. Sorry, though. Basically, I want to see what his pitch count, or how many pitches he got to in that last start. They don't have it. Okay. Oh no, they do. What? No, they don't. Okay. Eduardo Rodriguez game log. It's kind of unfortunate that we gotta do all this just to get pitch count. Come on, FanDuel. Matter of fact, let's tweet that. Number of pitches, last start. It only went 3.2 innings, so maybe that's what's keeping it down. He didn't go super duper deep. 72 pitches, but he went 83. So I'd probably leave him about 80 to 90 pitches. So that's okay. That's a give and take. We give him 80 pitches to 90 pitches against this projected Yankees lineup. I get 5.4 to 6, and the Yankees can work some walks. So all right, I get it. Let's see. Petition for FanDuel to add pitch counts in game logs. Boom. Shoot that into the abyss. No Yankees lineup? No. All right. As far as Severino goes, Severino looked pretty sharp to start his season. And once Garrett Cole got out the way, we saw Clark Schmidt was able to mow them down. He had like 5 or 6 strikeouts in 2.1 innings. So I don't mind some Severino exposure here on FanDuel. A 13% swinging strike rate on the season. Got up to 17% against the Blue Jays. That was his second game. That was the game where he struck out Vladimir Guerrero 3 times. Game log for Severy. Let's see what his pitch count is. I swear I can't stand how it is quiet all day until now, and they want to mow the field. He got to 83 pitches, so that's knowing Severino, knowing the Yankees, how cautious they've been. I was actually only projected him for like 75 pitches that game, on the low end of 10 to 15. So I'll stay at 85-90 now. We can close this out for now. So 85-90, even at 90, what do I get on the K Factory? I guess that's not fair since the sample size isn't great, but yeah, I probably expect around a strikeout per inning. So I'll get to some Sevy at 9K. The thing with Sevy, really these FanDuel pitchers on a big slate, you would really like that insurance, that feeling that they're going to give you 6 innings, give you a quality start, and potentially get the win. Now they are implied for the win, but yeah, that quality start is a pretty important thing when I like to pay up for pitchers. So it'll be a comfort click. But I think he's fine. If he's dealing, he's dealing. Plenty of strikeouts to be had. So give me some savvy. As far as the Yankee stack go, like I said, we'll play both sides of this. We'll get to some E-Rod. We'll get to some Yankee stacks. I really don't have a specific reason to pick on Severino, but he can hang that slider sometimes and maybe leave one up, and we might get a homer. Miggy, I believe, is was he 3 or 4 hits from 3,000 hits? So it's probably not today, but it could be really, really soon. You guys see Miggy 3,000, and that'll be fun. We're rooting for it. Yeah. I can see. So I think Vegas is like playing. The thing with the Yankees, they do strike out, but usually it's not 3-pitch strikeouts. You know what I mean? It's like full count, foul tip a couple, and then they eat the K. So if E-Rod is still working on like 80 bullets, something like that, I can see them working his pitch count well enough to maybe not have an opportunity to cash in on 5+. But yeah, he can definitely get some Ks against this lineup. I would just be worried about the lack of pitches that he might have in his tank, but he could be stretched out with 2 starts. He could have been going into the bullpen, firing off a couple more bullets, and maybe he gets 90 to 100. Who knows? All right, Angels at the Astros. It is an Ohtani start. You know what that means? We can't play Ohtani's bat today against Jake Odorizzi and his extremely high fly ball rate. And Ohtani gets the Astros. Ohtani's 9.1K on Fanduel. His last start, I believe it was against the Rangers, right? And we stacked against him. At least I did. And it worked out. So looking for Ohtani to bounce back. He's definitely a good pitcher, but so far he has not got into the 5th inning to even be eligible for the win. So I understand if you want to be hesitant here in rostering him, especially on a site where the 6th inning means so much, and this Astros team and this projected lineup does not project to be a high strikeout lineup. So up to you guys. I think this is then he pitch against the Astros to start the season. Let's pull up Shohei Ohtani game log pitching, and then let's also look at Ohtani on Fangraphs. Game log. Let's go pitching. Play discipline. So the swing strike rate was still there. The batted ball data says he was heavily unlucky in the Rangers game, a 1.91 overall xFIP on the season. Ground ball rate's fine. Fly ball rate lower than the ground ball rate. We can work with that. Line drive rate, this is where the problem is. You don't want that to be nearly 30%. You'd like to see that come down, but the underlying metrics say that last start was a little bit more lack of luck than anything else, and we know Ohtani is a beast. So I think the question is, do we want to roster a pitcher against the Houston Astros today? And my knee-jerk reaction is no, particularly with one that I'm not sure can fill out the requirements of a single pitcher site like Fanduel, where we really want to see him go 6 innings. So 70 pitches in that Rangers game, 80 in the game before. So we'll probably expect 80 to 90 here. And if we go 80, 90 pitches in the K Factory, how many outs and how many strikeouts do we get against this lineup? 80 pitches, we get 6.3 strikeouts, 7 at 90, and then it's 17 outs to 19 outs. So that is a wide window there. 18 outs would be the 6 innings, or no, the 5 innings. But so we're not getting a 6th inning in that projection, which is a problem. So I probably wouldn't list Ohtani as somebody I'm that interested in, but maybe the Astros surprise us with their lineup today, but I don't think they will. Do we pick on Ohtani? Yeah, I think the Astros keep coming in at single-digit ownership every slate, even against bad pitchers. So we'll get to the Astros, but it's really because it's so easy to do so. And I haven't looked at ownership projections, and maybe no cores on the slate. People start looking around. But yesterday, once we got past cores, it was a lot of single-digit ownerships on stacks. So I I could expect the Astros to be under 5%, and then just theoretically, I could expect more ownership on the pitcher against the stack. So I think the Astros are a talented team that I will always get to stack wise. They are injured. They didn't have Jose Altuve, and they let off with Jeremy Pena. So kind of a double-edged sword. You lose some of the trusted name brand power, or guys that you know are comfy clicks for fantasy points. But you still got, but the stack becomes cheaper. So I don't mind playing both sides of that. But I don't have like a high aspiration to get to to Ohtani as a pitcher that I'm gonna roster. And then as far as stacking the Angels, anytime Ohtani's on the bump, man, this is one of the hardest stacks to sell me on, because you lose, top 2 hitter in their lineup, and that's going to leave us with Trout, Walsh, Rendon, who I think are fine, and even Brandon Marsh, if you can get him against a contact pitcher, and Odorizzi against lefties, a sub 20% K rate, sure, but it certainly isn't not a fun click. Let's look at Odorizzi's first couple starts. Drizzy Jake. So play discipline for him is at 6.7% swinging strike rate. Yikes. Is getting first pitch strike more than half the time. Batted ball data shows he's also been struggling with line drives. Fly ball rate is at 40%. We know that can come up for Odorizzi. Hard contact is incredible, almost impeccable, but the xFIP's really, really bad. How is he missing barrels like this? Wait a minute. Somebody right. Fastball, 67% of the time he's throwing a 92 mile an hour fastball. All right, that could be a problem. If Mike Trout can sit on a fastball at 92 miles an hour, oof. So that's up 12% from his average last year. We'll see if it goes down, but yeah, that's not something that you want to do. And not only just for Trout, but Jared Walsh, Brandon Marsh, guys like that, right? Guys that have some power if you can, if you're not missing their barrel. So I'll sprinkle some Angels in. We'll meditate on whether or not we want to stack the Angels without the availability to get Ohtani hitter points. But maybe Odorizzi can open that door for us. Odorizzi has really struggled with power to righties the last 2 years, so this is right up Mike Trout's alley. And Trout's given us a round of 4 bomb detector rating. Anthony Rendon's up there as well. So if we're not stacking Angels, I'm still going to end up with copious amounts of Mike Trout. Streamer says contrarian stuff. You ain't going Heaney to the 10-day IL. No. I win, but I lose. Remember, I dropped Josh Lowe to pick up Andrew Heaney in season long, and the next day Lowe starts, gets like on base twice, a stolen base, and now Heaney's on the IL. I swear to you, my midseason transactions in season long, they just don't work. They are cursed. Usually the guy homers the next day, but not the case here. All right, now we can get into the DraftKings main slate. So humor me. Let me double check. It is the Mets game first, right? No, it's the Arizona game first. So let's get that. Arizona, then Toronto, Boston. All right, cool. Now we're on track. So let's type this up here, and everything will be, as the kids say, Gucci. D-backs and the Mets played a couple games yesterday. And then we saw a great game out of Max Scherzer. Unfortunately, he couldn't play it in DFS, so we missed that turn through the lineup, and I hate to see that, because I like to play guys like Max that can drop 30 and get 15 to 20% ownership, and people overthink it. Well, see you in 5 days. Also, it was also one of those slates where I didn't have to worry about stacking against Madison Bumgarner, because once again he would have took my money yesterday. Alcantara is a switchy, 80. Yep. All right, so this is actually our confirmed D-backs lineup, by the way. We don't have a confirmed Mets lineup. Cesar Hernandez. Yada Hernandez. Fetty Wap on the bump against Merrill Kelly. Now we can actually use DK game logs and pitch counts. So 75, 79 pitches for Mr. Kelly through his first 2 starts, 1921 fantasy points, strikeout per inning plus. That's interesting. Last year he had about a 20% overall K rate with a sub 9% swing and strike rate. So we're going to do some deep dive in here, some investigating, looking at what the freak is going on and why does he have hieroglyphics next to his name? Was he like a Korean ace or something? I think he was, huh? I guess it's not much for an average pitcher to go over there and become an ace. 9% swing and strike rate. So not crazy. That's about consistent with last year on a 2-game sample size. So getting a lot of called strikes. What's this? C 2.28 xFIP. Advanced standard dashboard. Underlying metrics look, they check out pretty well. I'm going to call regression on the strikeout numbers, but the other stuff looks good, right? The xFIP, the Sierra, hard contact, all that stuff's pretty nice. I don't think that he's gonna be a strikeout artist, but let's check out his card in Baseball Savant. I don't know what I see. Whenever I get lost in researching pitchers after 2 games, I tend to waste some time, and it's not like a guy that I probably play at a high level anyway. But I just love the hunt, right? The thrill of the explanation for the outlier. Put away 36. So he's just getting extra put away numbers here. The whiff on the changeup is higher so far this year than it was last year. Not like exponentially for a small sample size. And then the velos are 92, maybe like a mile an hour more on the fastball, not like a ton of zip extra. So I'm going to call for regression on those strikeout numbers, especially against a team like the Mets that don't strike out a lot against righties anyway. But AK on DraftKings, if you thought he can get you a shot at 16 fantasy points in an SP2 spot, I wouldn't talk you down. He does tend to suppress power against lefties a little bit more in the last couple years, although the metrics are not super different between lefty and righty. Maybe the line drive rate's a little higher than you want against lefties, but for the most part his power has been surrendered more so to righties. But I'm curious to see if there's a reason for that, because it doesn't look like there's a ton of difference in his power metrics. So I'm going to look at 2 things. What I'm looking at is pull rate allowed to righties versus lefties. So we're going to look at splits and go last year. So you allowed 14 bombs to righties, 7 to lefties, and about the same innings against each handedness. So we're going to go batted ball data against lefties, and then pull rate similar, hard contact similar, fly ball rate similar. There's a little bit more line drive on the lefty, but the righty is where the power is coming from. So I wonder if this was maybe park adjusted. So what about against lefty and righty on the road? So would go away versus lefty righty. 5 homers to lefties on the road. Nice. So that's a little bit more even. So I wonder if his home park was helping him out with homers against lefties, or is just like a weird thing. So with that said, the bomb detector only considers the batted ball data. It doesn't care about the results in terms of home run per 9. And we're getting some really nice numbers. But Nelson Cruz is at the tippy top with a 4.11 rating on the bomb detector. That's a nice price for him at $2,900 on FanDuel. So I probably don't get to some Merrill Kelly here. I don't get to any on FanDuel. DK, I'd leave the door open, but it's just a little crack, right? A little crack. If Nelson Cruz gets the day off, you know what I mean? Because this is kind of a 3-trick pony, Soto, Cruz, Bell for me in terms of stacking. Those are the only guys on the team with 200 plus ISOs against righties. Past that, it's a lot of no ISO, but still scrappy on the strikeout department. So, Eric Fetty, I never play Eric Fetty. We can double check his pitch count, maybe project some hitters against him, 6Ks, 5Ks. Another guy getting more strikeouts than he probably should, over a strikeout per inning so far, but also a little bit of walk problem and has allowed almost a hit per inning so far. So, yeah, I'm going to continue to pick on him. Last year, he allowed a 1.29 home run per nine to righties, 1.7 to lefties. Dalton Varsho got into a bomb yesterday. In that leadoff spot, he is confirmed there. So 2,600 and 3,500 on FanDuel and DraftKings, being that road leadoff guy in a plus matchup. Definitely could get to some shares of him. Ketel Marte has a drastic difference in price between FanDuel and DK. I don't mind him. David Peralta, and then Christian Walker. He's one of the league leaders in barrels so far, so he might be someone to keep an eye on if he's going to develop into a certified power guy. But no Fetty for me. Maybe some D-backs. They only have a 3.9 implied run total, but I can get behind stacking against Fetty. He could ground ball his way into trolling some innings, though. You know? Let's get caught up on chat. Would you go Gilbert or Kelly? I haven't looked at Gilbert yet, but probably Gilbert. But I haven't dove into him. Gilbert is going to be against the Rangers. I think Gilbert has more strikeout acumen that's actually got some stable data. I think Kelly's getting strikeout results that are not sustainable for his advanced metrics, if that makes sense. With that said, I think if Kelly can get through Soto, Cruz, Bell, the rest of this lineup, he could just eat innings and get you a shot at a quality start. Which the Rangers, the Rangers are dangerous too. I don't know. But I would probably go Gilbert, but it's not a snap call at all. What up, OMG? What up, Travis? Trout and Ohtani as a batter on PrizePicks. Oh, you could do that? That's actually a good call. What up, Bob? No Trout today? Oh, then we're not stacking. We can't stack the Angels. That lineup is disgusting. That lineup is an abomination. Indian Guardians are destroying pitiful Keuchel. Oh no. How do you feel about Stroman? I'm worried about that weather. That game could just straight up get nerfed for weather. Even if it had played, they could be playing through rain. Then you're dealing with a ground ball pitcher, maybe some muddy conditions. So he's never really a high upside K guy typically. So not warm or fuzzy. Also, I just hate him because he blocked me on Twitter. So F Marcus Stroman. You have an issue stacking hitters or back to back like 2, 3, 4 issue? No, that's actually probably better. You know what I mean? It's the reason you're stacking is because you want all the positive correlation, right? You want a double from the 1 hole. You want a RBI single or RBI double from the 2 hole. Maybe he draws a walk. You get that homer from. You want the runs and RBIs to touch each other. So having guys that are touching each other in the order is what you want, right? You don't want like it doesn't make like you are stacking, but you're not truly stacking if you play like a 3-hole hitter and an 8-hole guy. You know what I mean? So you want there to be some connection. Usually, as a matter of fact, Fantasy Cruncher has an option to where you can kind of make sure that that's happening. I think they have an option that allows you to make sure that all the hitters in your lineup are within 1, 2, or 3 of each other. I'll show you what I mean since we got some time. What's postponed? It's not postponed. It was moved up in start time, and DraftKings decided to not adjust their slate start time. Fanduel did. So it is confusing. I understand a lot of you guys have come in here and said that game's postponed. It's not. It just got moved up. So if we go to advanced options in your fantasy cruncher, and you'll see in your stack settings, if we go to add team stacks, stack size 4 players, blah, blah, blah. Wait, where is it at? I know it's in here. Oh, max gap, but 1 players, 2 players, 3 players. So this shows the gap in the stacks that it's going to accomplish. So it's not going to give you like I said, 3-hole, 8-hole guy, unless there's something connected to them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Nightmare inning for the White Sox. What happened? I would pull up DK Live, but I'd almost guarantee that we're not caught up. Oh, we are caught up. Okay, let's see what happens. Grand slam by Jose Ramirez, man. This guy, that's like his second grand slam of the season, ain't it? Or maybe it was, I know Oscar Mercado has one, but I feel like J-Ram might have one too. Oh my God, fielding error by Tim Anderson. Oof. Oof. Hey man, all that run support for Shane Bieber. Dallas Keuchel has 6 earnings in an inning. No strikeouts. I mean, I didn't play that slate, but hopefully those of you that are in our circle would never play Dallas Keuchel against the Guardians. The Guardians have terrible. That's tough. Keuchel used to be untouchable too, man. I used to hate him when he was with the Astros, just icing the Yankees down every start. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I thought. It could still get postponed though, so don't think that it's for sure playing, but it hasn't been postponed. But there's been at least 2 or 3 of you guys jump in here saying it's postponed. I can see why you think that when you open up DraftKings at the top. Due to a schedule change, Cubs will not be included. You just assume that it got postponed, but it's not the case. J-Ram has 2 salamis. Okay. Stack Cleveland. Yeah, you got to. All right, let's get into the next game. Remember, I had to type these games as we go. Long day. I had to get up early for a business call, and then I went back to sleep. So, anyway, 7:10 p.m. Let's dice it up. Giants against a righty. Mike Yastrzemski, Brandon Belt, Darren Ruff, Jock Peterson, Brandon Crawford. Boomer Flores revenge. This should be a good game. At least two decent pitchers going at it, right? Matt Reynolds. All right. Faded Bieber. Hope White Sox start hitting. Oh man, what were the pitching options on that slate? It's like Bieber, Hiccup. Let's see what was on the main slate. Woodruff, I guess, against the Pirates. Did you get that? Is he doing all right? I don't even know if he's doing all right. Keuchel, Bieber, Morton, Gonsolin. So I would have probably had Bieber, Woodruff, Morton in the player pool. I wouldn't have had a high confidence level in Morton, and then Mitch Keller, maybe. But I guess it would be Woodruff, Woodruff probably been my number 1 if I had to pretend. Woodruff 8 Ks through 5. That's what you want. Let's go. Gore, Mackenzie Gore. Yeah, I think I have Mackenzie Gore in my season line. Make sure he's starting today. No hits. Hey, Chuck, easy. Easy. This guy, no respect. Yeah, I got Gore going today in season long. I got Alcantara, Mackenzie Gore, and Carlos Rodon going today. And then I guess I can drop Andrew Heaney now. Bum. Yeah, bum. All right, Mets and the Giants. Carlos Rodon taking on Chris Bassett. Two really good pitchers, right? So this is probably gonna be a spot where you have to make some uncomfortable clicks because we do have a little bit of respect for both offenses. But man, Rodon was certainly he was 40 innings away from being a Cy Young contender last year, and he's picking up where he left off. 7 innings against Cleveland, who are currently destroying the early slate against a fellow southpaw. 9 strikeouts in that game, 5 ground balls, more fly balls than ground balls, but right about 90 pitches in both starts. So maybe that's where they want to hold him for a little bit and don't get him to 100 for a while. But also he went through 7 innings, so maybe if it was a need to get to that 8th, 9th inning, or just want to get that bullpen some work. So we'll conservatively take that 90 pitch estimate, but probably leave the door open for it to get to 95 to 100 if we had to. But yeah, been really doggone good. We don't have to dig too deep into the underlying metrics because the results have been consistent. But man, we don't cut corners, so we're gonna do it anyway. Plate discipline, 15% swing and strike rate. I mean, absolutely beautiful. 60% first pitch strike. That's great. 204 xFIP, 152 Sierra. The hard contact rate was up last game. Cleveland looked like they were making some squaring some balls up. 0% the game before. So keep an eye out on that. But that's not a problem. That's not something we're overly concerned about. Last year had a 28% overall hard contact rate. It's never a problem. Hard contact rate can be really fluky and noisy on a 1-game sample size. So, right, he's not going to be 0% guy. He's not going to be a 40% guy. Look really good. This Mets lineup does have some guys that will fight you in terms of strikeout potential, but this is one of those spots where you're just kind of betting on talent, as Carlos Rodon has sustained one of the highest swing and strike rates in all of baseball. The call strike rate, you probably want that to be a little bit, or a C called plus swing and strike rate. Want that to be a little bit higher, right? You want some more called strikes, but hey, so far so good. So yeah, he's gonna be in the pool, but there's enough resistance in this Mets lineup to where I wouldn't make him the lock. What was Coach saying? Lock washer of the night. I wouldn't make him the lock, but he'll be in the mix for me. And then Chris Bassett, this looks fine in his own right too, right? Coming from Oakland. His last start, 98 pitches. So he was that 100-plus pitch guy last year, and you just knew he was going to eat some innings. Maybe he's gotten back to that form. Again, the matchup, not necessarily one that I want to go out of my way to target. A ton of decent ISO, decent hit for average, and a little bit of strikeout potential in this projected lineup. Why did I type Joey Bart instead of Joey Bart? But there's still some strikeouts to be had. But usually we're not playing Chris Bassett for strikeouts. He can get them. He's probably like a better Stroman, as an example. Ground ball rate to righties, really, really elite. But just a 10% swinging strike rate last year. And if we look at his couple of starts this year, we'll see where he's at versus last year, and if there's any improvements or downgrade. 12% swing strike rate, so he's gaining a little bit on that strike rate. He's also getting ahead in counts, and that's what you love about Chris Bassett. This projected Giants lineup does have a decent amount of lefties in it, so we can look at Bassett's splits so far to lefties, but last year and the years prior, Bassett against lefties was a little bit more concerning. The xFIP elevates over 4 in some regards, and then he leaked over a home run per 9, almost $1.25 plus the last 3 years against lefties, with the fly ball rate being considerably higher. So he is definitely an extreme splits pitcher, or has been, and so far this year, let's see, against lefties, 208 average, hasn't given up a hit to a righty yet. So continuing to be a pretty extreme splits pitcher, a double, 5 hits to lefties with a homer. So if this Giants lineup comes out extremely lefty heavy, Yastrzemski, Belt, Jock Peterson, Brandon Crawford, Duggar or what's in the projected lineup, not confirmed yet. Yeah, there's some cause for concern, and maybe Bassett becomes overowned just based on recency bias, and you can tap into some of his weaknesses here with some of these high-power guys like Yastrzemski with a 250-plus ISO against righties the last couple years. Brandon Belt 260-plus, Jock Peterson 260-plus. So I'm willing to play both sides of this game depending on how this Giants lineup shakes out. If we get to a point where Bassett reaches like 20-30% ownership, then at that point he's probably over-owned, playing into his splits and more so getting traction because of his results lately. And I would have to maybe use some of these predictive analytics to kind of, whoa, Nelly, come back a little bit. But I don't want to talk anyone off of either pitcher. Stack-wise, 3.4 is your implied run total for the Giants, 3.2 for the Mets. So this is one of the lower totals, game totals you'll see in baseball. So what is that? Collectively, about 6.5. Is that truly the Vegas line? Let me see. DraftKings sports book. I need to pick up an endorsement deal from a sports book so I can reference one on air. View the odds. Let's put it on the main slate. MLB. I don't know what any of this nonsense is. Get it off the screen. Mets and so that's 6.5. 6.5 is a really low total. This is probably the lowest total you'll see. Maybe every now and then you get to like a 6 or 5.5, but it's very rare. It's got to be upper echelon aces, top bullpens, Colt. You know what I mean? So this is probably the low. And when totals get like this, I'm curious with a couple of overs, just because we can paint a case for Bassett to get in trouble. But Rodon's been really, really good. So no reason to stack either team, but I do think if this Giants lineup does, like right now we get 4 lefties in the top 5, maybe taking the Giants first 5 or something like that is in play to pick on Bassett, but hard to like either team as a full stack with these implied run totals. What up, Rory? I got Michaelis and Rodriguez with a Cardinals stack. That's not the main slate, right? You're not playing Michaelis on the main slate. That's got to be like the early, which is fine. Pitching is whatever on that slate. Newt Bar is intriguing. Is he in that lineup? We did get an Astros lineup. All right, let's keep going forward. But when we're done, I'll go backwards and update all these lineups. But now we are on the Blue Jays and Red Sox game. So let's type that in here. George Springer. I think we put George Springer on the cover. I don't remember. I didn't know what to do because the slates were so split last night. At one point last night, FanDuel slate advertised as a 640 lock with a 605 game on it, that Orioles game. So they got ahead of that and fixed it, but that could have been bad. Jose Berrios gonna give it a go. Anybody expect this game to be higher scoring yesterday? Blue Jays and the Red Sox, and then it was like 2-1. So far, and I know that the Yankees are like the highlight of the bad news from this division, but this division is wide open. I mean, wide open. Bobby. Oh! Nick Pivetta on the ball. All right, so Red Sox lineup is actually confirmed, so we'll bust that in there. Watch this. AL East standings. Yeah, 6-5, 6-5, 6-5, 6-6. This AL East wide open, so a lot of doom and gloom Yankee fans who just love to live in, I don't know, self-indulged depression. Don't. Pivetta against Berrios. Berrios did not last very long in that last start against the Yankees. But we've seen that out of Berrios, right? We've seen him be the sharpest pitcher. He's like if Aroldis Chapman was a starter, right? We've seen him, or the Rangers. He lasted against the Yankees, excuse me. We've seen that out of Berrios. He has really, really rough starts and then really, really sharp starts. So more hits than innings pitched so far. Home run has been a problem. And then the earnings have been there as well. 11.1 earned run average. So we can dig into his advanced metrics a little bit, see what we might expect here. Probably going to be far-fetched to expect us to be overly confident in clicking Berrios' name against the division rival Red Sox, but who knows. An 11% swing strike rate against the Yankees. That looked a little bit better if we can check into the pitch types here. The velo actually went down a clip against the Yankees, but I guess that was a lot more sample size on the amount of pitches thrown than it was against the Rangers. So, yeah, that makes sense. 93.5 miles an hour on his fastball, curveball, 27% time changeup. So, fastball, curveball, changeup. We look at what we had last year for Berrios, and we have fastball, curveball, changeup, 56% usage on the fastball last year, 30% on the curveball, 94 and 83 miles an hour, about 94 and 83. So pretty in line with last year. And then we're look at the results. 5.53 xFIP against the Yankees. Sierra was up there. Hard contact rate's okay. The fly ball rate is really high, 62%. Ground ball rate was reduced, and the line drive rate was fine. So a lot of fly balls in that spot. So we say all that to say this. That means we can really trust what we're working with. And last year, Berrios' weaknesses was against lefties, a 169 homer per nine to lefties the last couple years, and has shown a propensity to walk lefties. He tightened that up a lot last year, though. So if you're going to hunt out a lefty against him, Rafael Devers batting second. Yeah, I'll take some of that. And now let's go look at that pitch report and see how Devers fares against the fastball and the curveball. And Devers has a plus rating against the curveball, kind of average against the fastball, which is kind of crazy because I've watched Devers turn around some of the best fastballs in baseball. Aroldis Chapman, Garrett Cole, guys like that. But yeah, I like Rafael Devers to maybe take advantage of the numbers there for Berrios. And then Verdugo's in the middle of the lineup, and then we're just stacking. So I can get behind the Red Sox stack. They have a 4.4 implied run total. They're actually underdogs here. But I could play both sides of it. Because of the lack of production from Berrios so far, his price has stayed down to 7.3. I mean, he started the season at 8.9, so we're getting a $1,600 discount versus what DraftKings thought this guy could be on opening day. We love that he went to 80 pitches, so it tells us that even after throwing 34 at first start, he went somewhere and built that arm up and kept it going. So he could be a 90-pitch pitcher today if things are going well and if they pick up being more of a pitcher stool like yesterday was. So I don't mind his price. I don't mind his price on DK if I wanted to take some shots, but I think that might be one of those I play both sides of the fence, and if one side got a little overowned, then I try to take a step back here. But yeah, Nick Pivetta on the bump for the Red Sox. He's got a couple starts on his. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna skip this one. I'm gonna skip that one. Huh? Piano? Huh? You guys ever just feel like a nasty beat coming and your nose starts, you can't control it? It's got some stank on it. Maybe this will be that. But anyway, 54, 81 pitches, his first two starts. Strikeouts, not great. So let's see if we can trust our sample from the last 2 years. I'm going to say trust, but knowing. Okay. Yeah, 9% swing and strike rate. First pitch strikes 50%. You'd like that to come up a little bit, but what are you gonna do? 503 on the xFIP so far. Ground ball rate's low. Fly ball rate and line drive rate is through the roof. Line drive rate is more alarming to me than fly ball rate is, because those are rockets on a rope, right? Fly balls you can get under. So last thing we're gonna check out is pitch type. 93 on the fastball, 85 on the slider. We know he can use that slider quite a bit. 95 on the fastball last year, 86 on the slider. So he's lost some velo, it looks like, and that's alarming. The slider velo is down a clip too, and then the curveball 76. So with curveballs, we don't really look for velo there. We're looking for the difference in velo on the curveball versus the fastball, just to kind of get a hitter off balance, right? If you start cheating on a fastball, then you're going to be really, really early on a curveball, you know. So yeah, velocity problems is a problem, and him not being where he was last year is probably not going to do great numbers in progressing his poor metrics last year. That 4.13 xFIP to righties, 4.63 xFIP to lefties, and the home run problem. We're stacking Blue Jays, and Blue Jays have just a 4.8 implied run total. And I get it; they only scored 1 run yesterday, but this is a dangerous lineup in a hitter-friendly park that I could get behind. So. We're picking on Nick Pivetta today. We're letting the Bond Detector do a little hunting here. Cover boy George Springer has a 4+ rating on the Bond Detector. Vladdy Jr. is always in play. Also getting Matt Chapman at a decent bomb rating. And that's intriguing. Matt Chapman's one of those, I got to neutralize his strikeout propensity before I really trust him. Zach Collins hit a bomb yesterday. He was in the middle of the order. He'd be a cheap piece of the middle of the lineup too. So yeah, I'm stacking Blue Jays. Matter of fact, Blue Jays are looking like one of my favorite full stacks so far, and we've gotten through how many games? Yeah, Nick Pivetta can get it. He can get it. Yeah, I don't have a warm or fuzzy on either pitcher. I will probably not play any Pivetta. 8,900 on DK. I'm not playing Pivetta. I can get talking to a little Berrios because I trust his strikeout potential to show up, but even then it's not like a high-end click. But Pivetta is all the way off the table for me. Yeah, I mean, Guardians going nuts right now. Did they score some more? They were at 10 last I looked. That slate's basically over, right? If you played some early slate and you didn't stack Cleveland, start working on the main slate. It's over. What do you think of Michaelis? He's just a contact guy with no upside. On a main slate, I would never play him when we have alternatives that have strikeout acumen. Those contact pitchers, they'll have some games where they're like Brad Kellers and Mitch Kellers and Michaelis, like Marcus Stroman even. They'll get to 5-6 innings of sparkling no-run baseball, quality starts, and maybe they get 4 or 5 strikeouts in 6 innings. But that's the high end. The problem with those guys is if they do give up some runs, they can't really erase the runs with strikeouts, and that's what you get out of these high strikeout guys. And then just generally those other strikeout. I hate this song. I don't know. How do I downvote that? It's just some girl moaning on a loop. But yeah, those low strikeout guys, they can't really overcome those strikeouts. Like we've seen Max Scherzer give up 3-4 runs, and then he'll get like 10-12 strikeouts, and he becomes still a pretty doggone solid play. You just don't have that potential to overcome a deficit from those contact guys. So I stay away from them as a process. With that said, if you're talking about like a 3-game, 4-game early slate, no pitchers off limits at that point. So I would kind of change my tune a little bit. But on the main slate, I don't have any interest in a contact guy like Michaelis. Devers is the off-speed pitch hitter. He struggles with a good fastball. Yeah, lucky for him, though, Berrios doesn't really have a good fastball. You know what I mean? At least not one with a lot of juice behind it. Yeah, barely a plus rating on that runs created. And then it's just 94 miles an hour. So it's dang near off-speed versus some of the 99s he's been looking at lately. Dang near. Also profanity. Newt Bar is intriguing to me. Newt Bar or Garlic. Is that Kyle Garlic of the Twins? Where are the Twins at? I guess we'll talk about the Twins next. Newt Bar is batting 6th, and Garlic is batting 4th cleanup spot against a lefty. I think that's his purpose in life, to hit lefty. So right now, probably Garlic. Give me a second to process that game a little bit more in depth, and then we'll revisit that question, right? What up, Renta? Zach, how do you feel about Berrios over fantasy points on PrizePicks? Not great. I'll have to like really absorb the PrizePicks scoring for. They have slight differences. I know on NBA it's easy to just know scoring because it's linear to Fanduel and Yahoo, but it's not the case for for baseball. Like on baseball, a stolen base is 5 points, and I think on Fanduel it's 6, something like that. And then I think you get a little less for a single. So for on Fanduel, or excuse me, on PrizePicks, for scoring, we want to, you get 10 points from that quality start and win. 6 points for a win. You guys understand how crazy that is? I mean, that's just insane. Ernie is -3 strikeouts, so it is still, it's Fanduel centric in the fact you're not getting taxed for hits and walks and stuff like that. So let's be honest with ourselves, and let's look at Barrios. Let's give him 80. Let's give him 90 pitches in the K Factory. At 90 pitches, and I'll open up a calculator. At 90 pitches, I'm getting 6.5 strikeouts. So we said strikeouts are worth 3 points. So I'm going to go 6 times 3. That's going to be 18 fantasy points. And then at 90 pitches, that gives us 19 outs. So 18 plus 19 times, what is it? How much is an out? 1? Oh, so we just 18 plus 19 then, right? 18 plus 19. And 19 outs is that's 5.2 innings, so you wouldn't be eligible for the quality start. And let's give him 2 earned runs on a good day, right? So let's -6 that. So I'm getting 31 fantasy points on that. He could scoop a win, but I don't want to imply that. And that's not getting the quality start. So he's at 20 fantasy points. And I can get him to 31 if he's having a solid game. I don't mind that. I also think his pitching outs is kind of low too, right? I mean, just straight up on 90 pitches, we got to 19 outs. And they got him at 14.5, so we're getting 4.5 discount. They're basically saying he's not going 5 innings, right? So if you think he goes through 5 innings, even if it's a tough 5 innings, I think that's way safer, probably. So I'd take the pitching outs if I was forcing one there. PrizePicks pitching scores the same. Okay, lit. What up, chill robots? Hope you're doing all right. Batting is different. Throw all my eggs in the basket. Toronto, Minnesota. All right, let's add the Minnesota game to the spreadsheet here. And we got both lineups confirmed, so that's good. By the way, this bang is bussin'. Might have to start adding. For some reason, they changed the skins on these cans, but the new skins for Black Cherry Vanilla and Blue Raz is different. I don't know. I guess they feel like people are getting away from the dark skins. That sounded so bad out of context. They're getting away from, like, you know, the dark base skins. Whatever. We're moving on. Gio Urshela, Kyle Garlick. Man, this is a tough Twins lineup without Byron Buxton. I mean, it could be that much better, right? Celestino. Chris Paddock on the bump. Salvador Perez, man. Did he get 2 last night? Adalberto Mondesi, Michael A. Taylor, Cam Gallagher, Daniel Lynch. All right, both lineups confirmed. We have an implied run total of 4.8 for the Twins, 4.4 for the Royals. Very modest day for run totals. We don't have any 5s on the main slate for DraftKings, so it could be fun. And sometimes we think about, Do we have to stack? Well, lately it feels like no. And we're seeing a sharp decline, almost a 5% decline in, not 5%, we're seeing a decline in home runs and scoring. A lot of people attributing it to the dead ball and cold weather, stuff like that. But anyway, look at these strikeout rates in this lineup, man. This is tough. I wish Lynch was more trustworthy. So let's look at this game. Chris Paddock versus Daniel Lynch. Off the top, I wouldn't have any interest in either pitcher, but we'll do some digging in Paddock. We still feel like there's a good pitcher in Paddock that needs to come out. His first couple starts with the Padres, we had hope. 11% swing strike rate against the Dodgers. 55% first pitch strike. What's the batted ball tell us on that one? 3.32 xFIP, 3.35 Sierra. Hard contact really low. Ground ball rate's fine. The line drive rate alarmingly high. What was the pitch count at? Where are we at? 230? We're doing good on time too. 4 innings, 73 pitches. So maybe 85 to 90 pitches. I'm going to lean more conservative on the 85 side. So that's like a hard maybe at 5,900. DraftKings only. But it's not one of those slates where I feel like we need the salary. Like, we don't need to go get 6K Bryce Harper today on that main slate. So just kind of exist. And then we don't want to overreact to a one-game sample size. If he does regress here, his power problem with righties was pretty well documented the last couple years, and he's given up power to both sides of the plate. So, guy like Salvador Perez that's been pretty hot, looks like a problem. So I'm going to be more onto the offensive side of this game, but I understand if you wanted to maybe take a couple shares of a 5.9K guy that could progress a little bit more. Daniel Lynch on the bump for the Royals. His metrics coming into this season, not something I want to roster. 5 innings against the Cardinals, 7 Ks, and we just talked about how hard the Cardinals are to strike out. So that's funny. Freeman revenge bomb detective, wasn't that fun? His first homer against the Braves, and then yesterday was it Kenley Jansen closing out against Freeman? Boy, was that weird. It says Wilson Contreras is starting in your lineup, but it's not starting for the Cubs. So I do have Gary. He had a 15% swing and strike rate on a 72% first pitch strike against the Cardinals. Things that don't make sense. 3.83 xFIP, 3.4 Sierra. The hard contact rate's still up there. Fly ball rate was still up there on the batted ball events that we did get out of them. Pitch type. We're going to look at the pitch type because usually if there's a significant decrease or increase in swing and strike rate, it's either one, really noisy from a one-game sample, or two, he's evolved a pitch or stopped using or started using a different pitch. He had an 11.5% swing and strike rate last year, but just a 17% strikeout rate. So 93 on the fastball. Let's pull up the pitch report. Hit 93 on the fastball last year. He went fastball, slider, changeup last year. So far this year, fastball, slider, changeup. It's the exact same. So, one game sample size results are in his favor in terms of grabbing those strikeouts. So, and while we're here, we'll go check out his, I guess, the StatCasty stuff. See if like spin rates or movement changed at all. I feel like without a decent sample size, we chalk this up. Let me see. Daniel Lynch. Let's go spring training. Spring training 2022. What up, Nikki C? Hope you're doing all right. So in spring, he had 12.1 innings with 7 strikeouts. So he might just have like a really good game, and that's gonna happen. I'm gonna be cautious with believing the game log here on one game, and I'm gonna be a little bit more reliant on his poor metrics against righties last year. Just an 18.7% strikeout rate, a 318 average allowed, a 1.7 homer per 9 in 68 innings. Just insane power allowed with a 40% hard contact rate. So sign me up here. And we talked about these big strikeout rates against lefties. Kyle Garlick, Gary Sanchez, Trevor Lawrence. Like these guys, if you're going to neutralize these strikeout rates with almost cutting them in half versus Lynch's strikeout potential, this is a good spot for these guys. And Gary Sanchez especially, right? So I like the twin stack specifically going against these guys. And then somebody asked about Kyle Garlick. Now, Garlick did play last year. And based on the batted ball data we have, Garlick actually has one of the highest ratings in the bomb detector at 4.36. Let's do a little bit of digging on the sample size here. So double check sample, bomb rating, most least. Yeah, Garlick's actually number 1 on the bomb detector. This is based on 99 at-bats last year, or last 2 years against lefties. So just to double check, I lost the home row. Let's see if he was a lefty masher in the minors. God, this bang is so good. He's got 3 at-bats this season against lefties with a triple. So that's a great level of sample size. And last year, just 2 at-bats. He might have been on the major league roster. Too much. 8 at-bats. Okay, 2019. There we go. 2019, 59 at-bats, batted .379 with 5 homers in 59 at-bats. That's pretty stupid. 2018. Not enough at-bats here. So, yeah, Kyle Garlick. The question was Kyle Garlick or Newt Bar. Garlick looks like he's got a really plus matchup here, and Gary has his protection. I like that, and he's got a couple decent OBP guys on in front of him, and he's 2K on both sides. That's probably like the play of the slate pre-flop. Results be darned. That's just an incredible opportunity to be the road cleanup guy against a contact lefty. So I like the twin stack overall. I wish Byron Buxton was in this lineup and against this pitcher. Holy. I feel like what could happen here is Jeffers versus Gary Sanchez becomes the wrong decision, right? We all load up on Gary and Jeffers hits like a grand slam in an 8-hole, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Give me the twin stack. So Twins are gonna join the Blue Jays as one of my favorite full team stacks. So Blue Jays, Twins, boom. And then again, I'm always there on the Royals. I feel like I'm never getting paid off completely, but Salvi's going to look pretty decent. We talked about Paddock's power problems to righties. So, yeah, we can full stack this game. Hope the bullpen stay sour. What's the Twins bullpen looking like? I know they had attacks a little bit. Romero yesterday, Tyler Duffy yesterday. I think Duffy got a little trouble. Griffin Jacks threw almost 50 pitches on Monday against the Red Sox. So, might see Emilio Pagan. And I was like, Emilio! Joe Smith, Cody. All right, so none of these names are anything I'm running from. We're stacking the game. We're stacking it. Want to pick on Lynch because he was so bad at home last season, but this Twins lineup sucks. I would say bad hitting beats bad pitching. We'll say can beat bad pitching, but it should beat. All right, final game on the slate. We'll type it up, and we'll start getting some lineups entered. We're at 2:30. 2:30. Nate Lowe, Garcia. It's Nathaniel Lowe for some reason. Obviously, that's his name for some reason. Well, it's because his mama named him Nathaniel, but whatever. Dane Dunning. Mariners. Adam Frazier. Julio. You guys see Julio Rodriguez is struck out looking like something like 11 times. My man, bring it back. A lot of fun with numbers earlier on into the season. So they got a roof here. Some of these sites are showing that it's going to rain, but Safeco has... Is it still Safeco? T-Mobile Park has a roof. So don't worry about that. Dane Dunning on the bump for the Rangers. Logan Gilbert on the bump for the Mariners. Dane Dunning is 6.6K on DraftKings, 7.3 on Fanduel. He's got a start or two under his belt. I think that this might be his third start. Yeah. Got to 86 pitches in his last outing, 74 the outing before Toronto, and then Mike Trout in the Sunshine game. Did get 7 strikeouts against the Angels. Now, there's two things that I would maybe look at in that. Is one, he was trying to develop this slider. We talked about it with John Gray. We talked about this pitching coach. But two, the Angels suck past Trout and Ohtani and a couple of those pieces. So, yeah, against the Seattle Mariners, this projected lineup, we get Eugenio Suarez, Julio Rodriguez, Jared Kelenic, and Cal Raleigh as guys that have really, really high strikeout rates. The rest of the lineup doesn't really strike out too much, so I'd probably have tapered expectations on that. But let's go look at some of the underlying metrics and make sure that we could maybe buy into a big heaping pile of last year's sample size. 8.8% swing and strike rate so far. So he's not really missing bats. So that means that strikeout game that he got was a little on the lucky side. At least that's how I would interpret that. A 302 xFIP, a 310 Sierra. Those are really nice, though. So the runs that he's given up could be... so he might be lucky in the strikeout department, very unlucky in the runs allowed department. And then let's go check out the... I guess ball don't lie in that regard. 90 on the fastball, 78 on the slider. So we're going to go 90 on the fastball, 79 to 80 on the slider, cutter, curveball, changeup. All right, cool. So about the same, but the slider's looking like something that we want to keep an eye on. So far, his slider last year had better results in terms of these metrics, but I'm going to keep tracking this as we get more and more games under our belt. I want to see if that was consistent in now that we have more sample. Slider so far has a spin rate of 2137. Last year it was at 2074, so he gained some RPMs on his slider, and then the expected slugging is 534, expected WOBA is 439 so far this year. Last year it was 332 and 239. So added spin, but so far giving up more expected power. So what are you gonna do? We'll see that play out a little bit more. Logan Gilbert last year, 25% K rate, 12.5% swing and strike rate. The barrel rate really high, and the call strike plus swing and strike rate kind of low. So we want some more pitches for strikes. So let's see if we've got a little bit of hope in his first couple of outings here. So while we load that up on Fangraphs, let's open up 85. So he went strictly 85 the last 2 games, 5 innings flat, 4 and 7 strikeouts. Now, White Sox are a tough matchup, right? So I'm not going to overrate or underrate the results because it is just 2 games. But 21 and 20 fantasy points, back-to-back solid games, just 1 earning allowed. So looking at his metrics, would like to see that called strike plus swing and strike rate come up. Really, the called strike needs to come up, right? So let's go game log on this. I don't know why I'm not going game log. Play discipline. Swing and strike rate's fine. It was actually lower against the White Sox, but the White Sox are good. The 50% first pitch strike, that's going to be a problem. We want that to be a little bit higher, especially if what is his pitches per out per plate appearances? If he's getting 1 in 4 K rate, but the called strikes are low, he must be wasting pitches. 5.7 pitches per, almost 5.8 pitches per out against lefties, and over 6 pitches per out against righties. That's not what you want. Yeah, that's not what you want. I guess to put that in perspective, Nick Pavetta's 5.6 pitches per out against righties. Chris Bassett's under 5. So yeah, when you get over 6, I mean, an extra 1 or 2 pitches adds up. So especially if you're going to go against more righties. I guess in this case, the Rangers are pretty split, and they're going to give you several lefties, but something to keep an eye on. It's also a young pitcher. He's got to develop. We know the strikeout potential's there. And I guess we can do some math. Some real quick math. You ready? We'll see if we can improve upon this pitches per out. So we'll just do, he's throwing 10 innings, right? So 10 innings, 10 outs. So 85 plus 85 divided by 10. If he was a little cheaper, I'd feel better here. Almost 10K. But I guess in the context of this slate, for DraftKings specifically, pitching is pretty shallow. You know what I mean? So we might value just might be subjective, and we've already discussed a lot of really, really underpriced hitters. Kyle Garlick, 2K cleanup guy, and top of the bomb detector, so we like that. So we might just be paying for points at this point, and I think that's fair. So if you think he has a shot at 20 plus fantasy points, and he does, you take some shots on him. Also, don't mind hedging a couple of these Rangers bats against him, and he's really struggled against righties out of the gate last year. 1.5 homer per 9 to righties, 51% fly ball rate. So depending on what this Rangers lineup ultimately comes out as, if it is this lefty packed, that would almost be a plus for Gilbert based on the numbers we have. With the 1 and 4 K rate, the pitches per out goes down, and then he also gives up a little less power. Although I will say the line drive rate and the fly ball rate and the xFIP kind of suggests that maybe his results are a little on the lucky side. So I'm willing to get to Gilbert. I'm just hoping that he's a top 3, top 4 scorer on the slate, and I just want some exposure to that, because it falls off a cliff really, really fast after you get like Rodon out the way. I think Barrios are at 7,300. We're hoping for 14. So it's kind of an ugly pitching slate. So I will overpay for him today, but I'm also going to have some invested Ranger stacks because they've been one of my favorite teams to go after. They have a really low run total too, 3.7. Feels a little bit generous for the Gilbert side. So I'll play both sides of that. Adelis Garcia has a 4+ rating on the bomb detector if you want to pitch on him specifically. Even Dane Dunning's kind of curious because of his price, 6,600. Can I get home run points here? We don't have a confirmed lineup for the Mariners either, but if you give half this lineup at a 30+% K rate against righties, I might take a swing and just hope for 10+. And that's our slate. Oh yeah, let's get caught up on chat, and then we need to do some drops real quick. Let me do a PrizePicks drop. If you guys don't want to deal with the nightmare that is pitching here, and you don't want to play the full Fanduel slate, you can jump into some prop picks over on PrizePicks. They got some cool stuff. You can get access to runs first inning scored, fantasy scores. I like the fantasy scores are kind of like a happy medium that you don't get at sports books. If you don't want to specifically get stuck on total bases where you get screwed out of walks and stolen bases, stuff like that. And then if you don't want to bet hits plus walks or runs and RBIs, you can really just go to PrizePicks and just bet on fantasy score. And that's something I've been doing for hitters. I've been correlating like 2 hitters I like in stacks that I like for DFS. And I've also really just been picking my spots with pitchers that I like. And I think there's a couple of spots tonight that we've kind of talked about that might be underpriced for what we can get behind on PrizePicks. So if you guys want to give it a shot, give it a go. It's not just for baseball. They have basketball as well. We got a basketball stream following this show with Josh. We're going to be talking about tonight's 3-game playoff slate, find some prop picks for PrizePicks that we like. And then, of course, if you're into MMA, golf, hockey, USFL, CSGO, esports, cricket, all that good stuff, you can diversify. You don't have to just bet MLB be on one ticket. You can mix and match and try and take advantage of your general knowledge of all the sports. And we have a free Discord in the description below. You can click on that link, and there's a great community. A lot of you guys are in it, sharing ideas, sharing plays, sharing cards, and then of course we have a lot of premium stuff over at rundfs.com. So what were we on earlier, chat? There was somebody's outs. I think it was Berrios' outs, right? I think we could get behind him at 14.5 pitching outs. This implies that Berrios won't go 5 innings. I could stay away from the strikeouts, but this implies that he won't go 5 innings. And based on the K factory and what Berrios has done so far in terms of pitch count, we think he can get to 80 to 90. He got 80 pitches against the Yankees. He could push 80, 90 again. And at 90 pitches and 80 pitches, we go check out this K. By the way, if you have this spreadsheet access and you didn't know about the K factory, it's pretty cool for this. I coded the K factory last year, and it's been pretty good for us. Yesterday, it was on the nose for our pitching prop bets. So K factory here. What was it yesterday? Yesterday we almost swept. We just missed Mitch Garver, and I had posted those props in the YouTube member Discord. I was on Corbin Burns over 7.5 Ks, 18 outs. This was all K factory picks. Line moved half on Ks, and we were on Musgrove 6 Ks, 18 outs to over, and then Dodgers Braves under half a run. Garver just didn't get a hit. What are you gonna do? I'll take that bet every day, though. But with 90 pitches on Berrios, we're getting 6.5 Ks. I don't want to sweat the Ks. We're getting 19 outs, though. So we're getting a pretty decent gap between our out projection and theirs. Obviously, he has the propensity to cave in and fold to a team like the Red Sox, but I like the gap. So if you want to get on PrizePicks, use my code and maybe sweat some Berrios outs with us, right? Sweating outs, a little easier than strikeouts. All right, let's get some confirmed lineups in here. If you guys got any lasting questions, comments, concerns, throw them at me. I'll be happy to answer them. And we got plenty of confirmed lineups to get caught up on. So maybe some lineups are watered down or they look a little different. Cedric Mullins, Anthony Santander. Amazing first name, by the way. Batting second, Trey Mancini, Ryan Mountcastle, Rugned Odor, Robinson, Rob Chirinos, Kelvin Gutierrez, Chris Owings, bam. That's our official Orioles lineup. So that actually is a little different than what I was expecting. It still sucks, but the bottom of the lineup sucks even more. But I can't play Dalton Jeffries. But man, in that part, oh my God, this is literally like this should not be a baseball game in the major leagues. Both teams have like a $10 payroll. Seth Brown is batting 5th. We can maybe tap into his power metrics here. We'll also look at the bomb detector too. All right, there's a confirmed Athletics lineup. Rays and Cubs, Brandon Lau, Wander Franco, Randy Arozarena, G-Man Choi, Josh Lowe. You guys got some home run calls? Let me hear them. And then we'll compare it to the bomb detector. Kevin Kiermaier, Taylor Walls, Brett Phillips. Also, Brett Phillips is obviously a very likable guy, but if you just want to hear one of the most unique laughs on the planet Earth, Google or YouTube search Brett Phillips laugh. There's like a video of him when he was with the Brewers doing like jokes or getting told jokes, and it sounds like a donkey having an asthma attack, and I mean that with love. Cool guy, but it is so wild that someone laughs like that. And there's like a clip of one of his teammates that was with him, and he was driving, and he made him laugh, and he was like scared. He was legitimately scared that Phillips would wreck the car because his laugh is so like insane. I can't explain it. It's like guttural sounds while you're wheezing. All right, so this Cubs lineup actually sucks even more than I thought it would too. But we still like Suzuki, VR. No Patrick Wisdom, and he was one of the guys we were looking for power. Remember, Rasmussen had a little bit more power allowed to righties. So Suzuki's really it. So hopefully that game gets washed out. Cardinals lineup came out. They have a 3.6 run total. The disrespect. But Alcantara is good. Tommy Edmonds leading off. Goldie, Tyler O'Neill, Arenado, Corey Dickerson. Is the Corey Dickerson revenge game? I feel like he played for the Marlins. Yadier Molina, Harrison Bader. The Bader bomb. It's time. Gotta put 2 A's in the bar. There we go. Yankees lineup has not come out yet. Again, I'm not expecting Joey Gallo to be in the lineup, so look out for that if you do have plans on stacking Yankees. Astros lineup is confirmed. Jeremy Pena, Michael Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, Yuli Gurriel, Nico Goodrum, Jason Castro, Jose. Word that I will not say. I don't want to get you guys in trouble. Hey Siri, buy a romper. Just kidding. Alexa, play Despacito. I'm sorry if that worked. Whatever. Red Sox lineups confirmed. Twins. All right, all the lineups are confirmed. So let's get caught up on chat. Let's look at bomb calls, and then let's look at the bomb detector. And while we do that, if you guys want access to the spreadsheet, this thing that I use throughout the stream, you can go to rundfs.com, click yourself VIP memberships, let it do the work for you, expedite your daily research process, grab a week pass, 2-week pass, month pass. All these passes come with the credit towards Fantasy Cruncher, so if you're trying to optimize lineups or manage multiple lineups, you get a little bit of a discount there, a little rebate, and it's all good. I also post my favorite, my tiered pitchers that I'm personally getting access to, the percentage of stacks that I'm running on X, Y, and Z teams, and so on and so forth. So this is probably my biggest accomplishment in DFS in terms of developing an actionable tool, while also bridging the gap between casual understanding of baseball and advanced analytics. So add that to your daily repertoire. Jump in there. Getting caught up on chat. Large SARS says, if I were to purchase Run DFS membership, do we get access to this spreadsheet for early slate games? Not today, but so they were in there earlier. So like when I went to sleep, I put them all in there, and then when the stream started, I took them out. So unfortunately not for this one, but going forward, usually I'll put the early slate in there. I know tomorrow is going to be really weird, so we'll have every game in the slate in the spreadsheet tomorrow. And also bear with me tomorrow. We may not have an afternoon stream tomorrow. We may not have any baseball video content tomorrow because of how wonky it is. I talked about this on Monday. I was like, I know I'm scheduled to do a stream on Osmo tomorrow, but even that may be up in the air because of how weird tomorrow is. So tomorrow there's a bunch of games that kick off at noon, and then there's like a 3-game slate that happens at night. So like if the sites decided to go like a 2-game main or 3, I don't know, it gets weird. So it's unlikely that I do a stream for the early slate because it's early and you can just catch the Awesome Strategy Show, you know. But we'll be back at it on Friday. We will do basketball tomorrow though. How's the bomb detector for Mullins? Jesus Sanchez with Jason Garnett? There's a call. Waiting patiently for NBA props. They're coming. That's a terrible lineup. No Goldie. Yeah. But it still has Arenado. All right, bomb detector time. Then we'll get us out of here. And then we'll work on NBA. Top of the bomb detector. Kyle Garlick, Salvador Perez, Miguel Sano, Jose Siri. Now, Sano and Siri are betting 7th and 9th. Gary Sanchez, Nelson Cruz, Matt Chapman, Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, Aaron Judge, Adolis Garcia, George Springer, Shohei Ohtani, who you can't play, Rougned Odor, Austin. I hate Austin! Austin Meadows. Now, that's only a 2 innings of sample size on Severino, so take that with a grain of salt. Same with Rougned Odor, only 11 innings of sample size for the pitcher. And then Anthony Rendon. Those are all of the hitters with a 4+ rating on the bomb detector. And then if I were to be a little bit more responsible and take out the 2.2 innings, it gets that much shorter. So I like the Garlic call. I like him for DFS. I think at 2K, he's going to be my highest owned hitter. And that's all I got to say about that. Guys, I got to come back here in a couple minutes. So I need to go dress up the NBA spreadsheet, if that's cool with you guys. If you guys are ready to look for some NBA props out there on PrizePicks and wherever you might prop bet, maybe you'll find some value if you stick around. Otherwise, I surely appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. If you do me a solid, hit that thumbs up before you get out of here. Make sure you hit that sub button while you're at it. And if you got anything else for me, twitter.com/Gundacker. There is a free Discord. Yeah, we have the premium stuff, but there is a free Discord that you guys are more than welcome to come join, be part of the family. And if you are a channel member, you know, the paid subscription that YouTube offers, like $5 a month, I'll make it a habit of posting a couple of my favorite props and probably throw the bomb detector in here. If I don't do it like within a certain amount of time, tag me. I don't mind getting tagged in there. Let me know and I'll do it. And then yeah, shout out to everyone that jumped in there yesterday. Man, so many of you guys. So today, Danny V 136 Rhino. There's like 400 of you guys. So check out that. We'll have more coming. And yeah, you guys are the best. I love you guys. Tell somebody out there that you love them. Just find one person in your life that you ain't talked to. Say, hey, I love you. And know that Gun loves you. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.